T. Ravisankar, Land Resources, Remote Sensing Applications in NRS ISRO Hyderabad, and also Group Head Agricultural and Soils Division IIRS Dehradun. Today's talk, monitoring of watershed development programs using remote sensing and GIS, will be delivered by Dr. T. Ravisankar, who is currently Group Director at Land Resources, Remote Sensing Applications in NRS ISRO Hyderabad. He is working in the field of applications of remote sensing and GIS in agriculture, soils, land degradation, watershed, and rural development for more than 3 decades. He is responsible for the development of methodology for mapping and monitoring of land use, land cover, soil resources, land degradation, wasteland, watershed using RS and GIS tools. He is responsible for the completion of projects like National Level Annual Assessment of LULC, that is land use, land cover mapping at 1:50,000 scale, assessment of land degradation at that scale, monitoring and evaluation of watershed, geotagging of rural assets, and planning of assets in rural development, nationwide change analysis of wasteland. Currently, his research interest is in soil fertility, soil health, land degradation neutrality, digital soil mapping, soil carbon related studies. He is responsible for the national level products on LULC, land degradation, wasteland using satellite data. He has provided geospatial solutions for the flagship programs of Government of India, integrated watershed management programs, that is Srishti, Drishti, Geo MNREGA, RKVY, PTMS, etc. During the last 10 years, he has 26 papers in peer-reviewed journals to his credit. Sir, for your brief introduction, this particular course is being attended by around 5,000 participants through various internet-based platforms. The participants are mainly from the agricultural engineering and civil engineering backgrounds, comprising of regular students, passed out students working in NGOs and government sectors, assistant professors, and others. And many of them are also postgraduates and PhD. So I would now invite Dr. Ravisankar to deliver this talk. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Deepanvita. I think I am audible.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon to all the participants of this particular outreach training program of Indian Institute of Remote Sensing. And first of all, I thank Dr. Suresh Kumar, the coordinator of the course, for giving me an opportunity to share my experience in the field of this remote sensing and GIS applications in watershed management and rural development. Watershed management and rural development goes synonymous, and though they administratively they have certain limitations, but they go hand in glove. So I have taken both the topics. And let me give you a little bit of introduction because I am not going to touch on the basics of this watershed in rural development, because in the due course of the time in the past 5 days, you might have been exposed. So my introduction goes like this. Since independence, Government of India has taken many flagship programs to develop the natural resources in the rural setup, either in the form of watersheds or Gram Panchayat developmental planning, and various schemes like integrated watershed management, then rural housing, rural drinking water, social assistance, electrification, then livelihoods, etc. have been initiated in the rural environment, but they have received various degrees of response and witnessed performance of diverse nature. And because with the modern times and availability of the space technology and the tools and continuous improvement in the remote sensing satellite sensors and other things, the unprecedented developments have taken place after the 2015 national meet at Delhi at the instance of Government of India, and coupled with the availability of very high resolution satellite data and the smartphone technologies, the many solutions, geospatial solutions, are brought for the development of the rural areas. And some of the experience we have, I will be sharing in this lecture. And these solutions are scalable, affordable, and quick. And some of the programs that we are supporting at National Remote Sensing Center includes the Integrated Watershed Development Program for Ministry of Rural Development, particularly the Department of Land Resources. Then we have got the Manrega, Geo Manrega, and Manrega is a very popular program in the country, and Prime Minister Gram Sadak Yojana and other programs connected with the rural development. The entire efforts have resulted unprecedented data availability today, and whatever the information that has been generated is also made available to the citizen access. And then let me come to the remote sensing and GIS in rural governance. Some of the challenges can be summarized like this. Because many of the flagship programs, the projects, the works are more or less similar, and there is a lot of bureaucratic approach, limited rural entrepreneurship, paucity of data on micro level impacts, double booking and ghost assets, opaqueness, lack of accountability, then centralized procedural deviations, spurious transactions, parking upfronts, etc. So what is the need in the modern context is increased citizen participation, increased transparency, accountability, monitoring and evaluation. I think all these things are addressed in the modern spatial information paradigm shift that we are seeing, and continuously it is happening. The latest being the geospatial policy document that issued by Department of Science and Technology to provide all the data, maps, information generated by various governmental or agencies in India to any user who wants with a minimum, without any restrictions. And what is the spatial paradigm shift that we should see in this particular envelope? We need to have the Earth observation systems and cover data. Then we need to have WebGIS applications. Then app-based inventory of the geotag assets that have been created on the ground. Then once the data is there, then we have to do some analytics. Then we should go for planning, and then see the developmental impacts that has been created or in the field. So if you look at the watershed management, what does it, main components you see here is in this particular slide. And the 4 components that we will be addressing in watershed management is water, land and soil, then vegetation and livelihoods. See, basically what we have to see is we have to delineate the watersheds, characterize them, prioritize, implement the action items. Field inventory has to be done, what action items have been implemented, detect and monitor them, and impact assessment. And all these things, we have both remote sensing GIS components and the mobile app applications. And I will be showing some of the examples of the projects that we have done. And the overall methodology, if you look at the watershed management, there are 2 levels. One is at a macro or a medium scale, and one is at a micro level scale that we need to address the watersheds. Normally, at whatever we take, we need the satellite data, and in the case of micro level planning, we need a very high resolution data of say 1 to 2 meters. So that the watersheds which are of the size of say 500 to 1,000 hectares can be addressed easily. And with the help of the ground truth and other things, we need to prepare the natural resource database first. Why we have to prepare these things is to address what are the issues in the particular watersheds, so that the financial or manpower resources can be optimally utilized to address those issues, and the productivity of the soil and water conservation measures can be effectively implemented. And to do that, based on the natural resources information, we can create the critical area maps and then generate some general level action plans. And when you go to micro level, we can go to the pre-survey and then come out with what action plans are needed at the ground level, and have a discussion with the people living in the particular watershed, have an appraisal, have discussions with them, and then prepare the action plan. And once the action plans are prepared, and they will be implemented in the field level, and then we can detect what exactly is happening at the ground level. Of course, this is the introduction just to keep my talk. First, the basic thing is delineation of watersheds. And this all you know how it is done conventionally using Survey of India topo sheets. And these are various levels of orders of the drainage in the streams. And then we delineate the watersheds using the drainage network, then elevation information, then hydrological parameters, and satellite data and digital elevation models in the modern times. They have been effectively used in a GIS environment to delineate the watersheds. And this is how the basic thing you can do before you start any project. And one example, when we started some mid of the career, we were associated with one of the ICR watershed projects or National Agriculture Technology projects, where the main objective was to improve the crop productivity in the watershed-based approach using geospatial technologies. And this one example I am just trying to show you is the Gambhir watershed in Indore district of Madhya Pradesh. And as I was telling it, 1:50,000 scale and 1:12,500 scale. At 50,000 scale, we have taken a bigger watershed of say 1 lakh hectares. And at micro scale, micro watershed level, we have taken one Gauli Palacia micro watershed of the order of some 500 hectares. And we have used the high resolution satellite data sets to prepare the thematic maps. And these are the basic resource maps that we prepared at 1:12,500 scale. This project we have done around 2000 to 2005 time frame, because these all form the experience for us to come to the national level. That is why I'm giving a background to the before I go to national level programs. See, what we have done is we have basically prepared the thematic maps like soil, land use, then hydrogeomorphology maps. And based on that, we have tried to identify some critical areas and so that the resources can be optimally utilized. And prioritization of watershed is a key component in the entire program, because to treat a per hectare of a watershed, there is a policy guidelines from Government of India that about 12,500 rupees is given per hectare in a plain areas, and in hilly terrains, that cost is up to 15,000 per hectare. That is why even though if you identify the areas in a micro watersheds, you cannot treat 100%. So there is a need to prioritize the watershed areas within that, and then the finance resources can be very optimally utilized. So this can be done either with socioeconomic factors or with natural resource-based factors or sedimentation yield approach, and many ways are there to prioritize the watersheds. In Gauli Palacia watershed, we have identified the critical areas with reference to the parameters that doesn't change over a period of time. For example, the drainage system, the soil depth, the soil erosion. We have to address the soil erosion component. That's why we have kept it as one of the critical parameters. And texture will not change. And slopes are there. You have to understand what is the natural slopes and where the interventions are required. And based on this particular information, we have identified the critical areas in the particular the Gauli Palacia micro watershed. You can see we have divided into 5, which are the normal areas. First, we need to eliminate them. Then where are the deep and very gently sloping areas, and then moderately shallow, very depending on the depth and other things. There are technologies available to improve the productivity in the particular system, very shallow soils, and all these things. The critical area map is prepared for this particular micro watershed. And as all of you know that the treatment in any watershed program is from ridge to valley. And ridge area treatments comprises of staggered contour trenches, continuous contour trenches, barren hilly afforestation, then barren hill afforestation, water absorption trenches, and drainage line treatment goes with a loose boulder structure. All these things all might have been taught, check dams and other things, as all of you know. and contour bindings in the lower side of the slopes, and recharge beds, then horticulture plantation, institutional plantations. And the particular action plan that we have developed for this Gauli-Palacia micro watershed is identifying a specific cropping system, especially suggesting the soybean varieties and other things, and coupled with intercropping system with the groundnut varieties and other things, silvihorticulture systems, because we are having all the natural resource information, and we could identify the particular parcel of lands and give the suitable action plans for each parcel, and where the farm ponds have to be constructed, where check dams have to be constructed, gully plugs and all these things. And after this, not only that, we have gone to the field, and with the help of the local, the community, we have able to implement, and ICR institutes were also involved, the local soil and water conservation institute in this particular area. This is with the indoor, JNKVB indoor, and the research people have come, and you can see how the various watershed improvement programs have been implemented. And finally, what we could see the impact after implementation for about after 2 to 3 years is a total of 28,960 millimeter cube water could be stored in 5 water harvesting tanks. And the construction of 20 loose board structures reduced the velocity of runoff. And also we could wrap the silt to the depth of 2 to 3 centimeters. And diversion of hillock runoff water to natural gullies helped in protecting the Kharif area to the extent of 100 hectares. Then the field flow with 2 to 3% was brought down to 0 to 0.5 to 1% through mechanical oblique vegetative barriers. The cropping intensity increased due to recharge of wells. Particularly the following cropping systems have become popular there, and the application of sulfur increased oil and protein content in oil seeds. And these particularly some of these impacts we could collect from the JNKV University research team, and also continuous follow-up. So this particular exercise with the NATP program of ICR has enabled us to look into the watersheds in this entire country. And now I am going to cover some of our experience at national level. Particularly the Integrated Watershed Management Program, one of the flagship programs of Department of Land Resources and Ministry of Rural Development, and that is renamed after the new government has come, and it is now called Prime Minister Kisai Sinchai Yojana and WDC Watershed Development Community 1.0, Watershed Development Component 1.0, and using geospatial technologies. Basically here, the entire project is funded by the Department of Land Resources. The project started somewhere in 2015, and now the project is in the final stages. We have to conclude. And this particular project is become very popular. And based on this, some other departments of agriculture and other department of rural developments, they have also embarked upon to use the geospatial technologies for studying the impacts, what exactly it has created. The main objectives in the project are to provide basic satellite data, high resolution satellite data, and GIS platform and software tools, and then provide continuous satellite images for the monitoring periods, and enable online monitoring and evaluation of all identified watersheds, provide periodical satellite images to highlight temporal changes, enable technological tools for participatory monitoring and evaluation. And this project, the status right now we can see is the Bhuvan IWMP web portal called Srishti is in place, and 6,600 projects are monitored. Dashboard is prepared for reporting the progress. Then mobile app Drishti is developed and made popular to all state nodal agencies to geotag the field level activities that they have done in the watersheds. And multi-layer satellite data, around 18,000 2,500 scenes of high resolution Carto plus LISWOR data scenes are procured and hosted in the Bhuvan. And all over the country, the SLNs have uploaded 15.90 lakh geotags. And based on the geotags and satellite images, we have prepared some summary reports, what is the impacts and other things. And in the due course of time, we could train around 1,400 officials in various 2 to 3 levels of training programs. And recently, we have also enabled the Department of Land Resources to establish GIS cell so that there will be a continuity in the ministries. Otherwise, what happens is in the ministry, normally the secretaries, joint secretaries, and commissioners, they will be changing in 2 to 3 years' time. But we advocated that establishing a cell would see the continuity. And in the entire project, we have concentrated on the Bhuvan development of Bhuvan web portal, then a mobile app called Drishti, then temporal satellite data, and to even plan the IWMP activities, mapper tools are developed. And once the geotags are available, some analysis, then summary report, dashboard, and apart from all these things, we have developed the access for the citizen to view what is exactly there in that, and he can post his comment and other things. So this is the Srishti portal in the ISRO Bhuvan website, and basically here the important component is developing some protocols, how to access the data, who is having the authority to go and check the information and flag the quality issues and other things. And the left side, right side, bottom, the Drishti, the field app is developed based on the requirements. And over a period of 3 to 4 years, about 9 versions are developed, addressing the improvements in the mobile app version. And 15.90 lakh Drishti photographs are uploaded. And the Srishti is basically a login-based thing is given. For citizen, you don't need anything, but for other things, the person who is uploading the Drishti photograph from the field, he can upload, but his next level of authority, like state nodal agency, he can view and say that whether the quality is good, whether the information is correct or not. And in the left side of the particular access, the administrative access is given to the ministry and state level. They can go to any level and see what is happening in this particular project. And these are all the state-wise geotags. The protocol followed here is each state people after training, they upload the photographs. That is how the total first column is the total number of geotags. And once the geotags are there, they have to be moderated by the next level of officials. And once the moderation process is in progress, then they will say how many are accepted. For example, in Andhra Pradesh, 1,55,000 photo geotags are uploaded, but 1,34,123 are accepted, and remaining are rejected. So this is how one of the checks for the quality of the information that is available in Bhuvan Geo portal is made error-free. They are trying to make the data what is available to remove the unwanted or not good photographs, so that they can go for once again for re-geotagging, so that the database is foolproof and error-free. And in this particular IWMP program, we have got about 18 major activities that are taken up, like checks and plugs, check dams, other entry point activities, production system and other related activities, agriculture improvements, farm ponds, field bunds, and like that. And you can see in the pie diagram how the different the 15.90 lakh photographs are distributed. The maximum being check dams, and then we have the checks and plugs like this. So this gives the administrator the confidence that the program and how it is going. And these activities using high resolution satellite data, we could see where exactly the land development is taking place and what interventions has been done you can see basically in this particular satellite data, before treatment and after treatment, particularly this is in the Kadapa district of Andhra Pradesh. You can see how a land which is during 2009, the barren and not land without scrub has been, intervention has been taken up, how the land improvement has taken, how the farm pond has come, and how the agriculture has increased. This is only without any analysis. By visual interpretation itself, you can have some idea. This is another IWMP project 18-2012-13 Ahmednagar in Maharashtra. And here you can see three activities, particularly in this watershed. One is the farm pond, B is the continuous contour trenches in this particular area, and then the C is land leveling, and you can see how this particular area proper bunding has come. These all indicate that the soil erosion is controlled, because one of the key thing for the control of the soil erosion within the field level is to have proper bunds. That is how easily, clearly visible. So these are all could be captured using high resolution satellite data, and you can see the time period between 2009 to 2019. And that is how we have taken sequential data sets. Somewhere I will be showing some of the example. And this is another example that in the watersheds, plantations or treatment of the wastelands or improvement in the plantations to conserve the water and other things, because water is very scarce in the watersheds and we need to optimally utilize either through micro irrigation and other things. And you can see in the particularly in this IWMP 29 in Kadapa district of Andhra Pradesh, you can see how the mango plantations have been. This is mostly mango plantations based on my field visits. I could tell you, and you can see how the improvement has taken place over a period of 2009-10 to 2016. And in the subsequent years, the particular plantation areas, they will put up a lot of biomass and other benefits will follow sequential. And this is nothing but you can see in IWMP 18 Pune district, Maharashtra, 2010, wherever the yellow circles are there are no farm ponds, and due to the intervention activities, they have created the farm ponds, and subsequently there is an improvement in the agriculture areas. And then coming to the temporal creation of water harvesting structure farm ponds in Rajasthan, you can see 2009, 2013, 14, 15, 16, and this may be probably on 17 or this thing. And you can see how the farm pond structures have been consistently there. And this is one of the key or good input for administrator. Yes, they feel confident as the water harvesting structure like farm ponds are created, they are properly implemented, then they are sustained, and then you can see how the agriculture has also improved, because each farm pond, depending on its size, may not support more than 1 acre or maximum 1 hectare. The farm pond concept is just to give the life-saving irrigation during the critical period, because watersheds are all on either on the dryland farms or on the high rainfed zones and other things. And as I told you that the IWMP, they have created a dashboard for the administrators to have a quick look of the different watershed projects, status, batch-wise, then district-wise, and what are all the satellite data available, then what is the status of the geotags, and what is the progress that is happening. And if they want to print the summary reports also, they can download from this particular area. And here what I would like to give a comment is, this particular dashboard has enabled DOLR to see any particular state is lacking or lagging in the progress. They can alert them so that the works can be improved. So it is a sort of a tool that has come handy for them to see that the efficiency in the implementation of this program has increased. So this is all about the IWMP or PMKSY WDC 1.0 program. And this project we are going to conclude shortly. And now we are going into the phase 2, that is PMKSY WDC 2.0. It is offing, and probably shortly they will DOLR will come out, and we have to see what other improvements and whatever we have seen in the phase 1, how to quantify them, and what are the climatic change impacts, or how to see some modeling aspects, so that we can say this much of soil erosion has reduced in terms of quantitatively, like tons per hectare per year, or this much of cropped area in terms of hectares has increased. Wastelands say this much. All quantitatively we want to come out and give some modeling, and also biomass estimation, greenness, some of the developmental indicators we want to attempt in the WDC 2.0. And finally, as I told you, that we are hosting the summary reports in the dashboard. This is one sample example where you can see the location of the particular watershed, and how the geotags in T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, and what are the land use land cover change maps, change analysis, cross matrix table, and how the land use is sustained or not. These are all the field photos and other things. This is how the summary reports are placed in the dashboard, and this gives you the quick status of the watersheds, particular watershed. So what I would conclude this IWMP project is a platform, Bhuvan, Srishti and Drishti platform has been established and running successfully, and this needs further improvement, and we can improve in the 2.0. That is what I am just stopping this IWMP project at this point. And the watersheds are not only taken up by the Department of Land Resources, NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. They are also sponsoring the watershed development programs, and they have also approached NRSA to develop some portal so that whatever watersheds they have developed, it can be monitored and other things. And here the NABARD people, they have also come, and we have got 2 phases with them particularly, and phase 1, phase 2, and the NABARD people under the watershed program, they have very specific programs like climate proofing projects in the watersheds, or soil improvement projects, and climate and other things. And initially we have developed the same, but these features, whatever we have developed in Srishti and Drishti, some have been adapted, but the major difference between the Srishti and Drishti and NABARD portal is the NABARD portal is strengthened with the MIS management information system of the NABARD, has been strongly integrated with the Bhuvan Geo portal, so that being a bank, the NABARD is having a strong financial controlling things. So this is the strong component that they are now able to link their MIS and the watershed program, and the funds allocation, monitoring, and all other aspects. Here also same high resolution satellite data, capacity building, and the development of web portal. And this is the overall web portal of the NABARD, but only difference is in Srishti Drishti we have 6,000 projects, art projects, whereas in the NABARD it is about, say, not more than 500 projects altogether right now what we are handling. But NABARD requirement is on an annual basis, they are allocating funds to 50 new projects on an annual basis. So once we have developed this, and we have also established the remote sensing cell in the NABARD, and they have a proper cell and infrastructure and manpower. And we are now trying to handhold and pass on the entire monitoring system to the NABARD remote sensing cell. And here also the mobile app, this is the particularly here where my cursor is moving, this is the MIS part, and then this is the mobile, and this is how the projects are distributed all over the India, and not more than 500 projects. And a list of activities in NABARD watershed projects, as I told, in KFW, soil improvement, or the climate proofing projects, various activities what has been listed is given here. And here also the capacity building and all these things are incorporated in mobile, and the geotags are coming. But only the difference here is the number of geotags that we could get in the NABARD project are less, because these projects are all completed some time back, and NABARD want to establish a management system using the geospatial technologies. That is why the geotags are less, because most of the works in NABARD projects are done by NGOs. That is a difference with reference to the Government of India projects. Government of India DOL projects are done by the state level nodal agency officials, whereas is NABARD, most of the projects are carried out by the NGOs. And in one particular example in Warangal district, you can see different activities, how they are been done from 2009 to 2015. And the land development activities, you can see very clearly the burning and then other things, and plantations and all other things. And somewhere in the corner, you can see the horticulture development. See, the NABARD projects are for 100% saturation in the projects as compared to the Srishti and Dishti. And this is a holistic project. They have done a saturation mode. And here also you can see the continuous contour trenches, in particular patch land without scrub in Rajasthan. And here are the details how we are. These are all available in the Bhuvan portal. And here also the impact assessment in terms of, they are also interested in the development of agriculture, because it is a bank addressing the agriculture and rural development. So here also they give a lot of priority or emphasis on the agriculture components. And here also we could see some improvement in the agriculture area and other things. And only the this project, particularly in the phase 1, since only 3 states we did, like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Gujarat, but now we are doing in almost 15 to 17 states. And in this particular area, you can see in Devapura watershed, there are some improvement of land use land cover map before and after. And the changes are depicted in terms of the bar diagrams, and you can see how the areas have changed. Especially the scrubland, you can see it has decreased. Whereas fallow land is also decreased. The other fallow land, which was high during the 2008 time frame, has come down. So indicating that there are improvements in the biomass or agriculture and other things. This is another example from Karimnagar district of Telangana. You can see in a particularly under one watershed, this water harvesting structure, the development of agriculture and other things. And one of the significant things what NABARD has asked us is, sir, can you rank the watersheds based on certain criteria, which has performed well and which has not performed well, or other things, because they are the people more interested to see how their financial things have really gone or impacted. And here we have developed one ranking of watershed project based on key land cover changes through weighted approach. Here is the formula. We have taken change in scrub area, change in current fallow lands and plantations. And once the index is arrived, if the index values are greater than 10, we are calling them as A. Particularly these two watersheds are coming under the A category. B is very good, 5 to 10, 2.5 to 5, and 2.5 to less than 2.5 is the average improvement or ranks has been given. You can see in the C category you have many. That means good category are many, and very good and excellent are only 2 watersheds came in this 36 number. Probably now when we are going for some 500 watersheds, after applying the same criteria, we may add some more parameters to improve this index. And this is also one of the requirement of the NABARD, and we have developed and provided. This is all what we could do in the watershed programs. And then coming to the rural development side, because I told you the entire the rural areas, rural governance deals with the 2 aspects. One is the natural boundaries called the watersheds, and another is administrative boundaries, either blocks or villages for Gram Panchayats. So one of the biggest programs, the Jio Manrega, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, the government has to provide 100 days to 100 to 150 days work so that they get some wages and their livelihood is sustained and other things. This particular project started somewhere in 2015, and initially the ministry, this is also Department of Rural Development, they have requested NRSA to develop protocols and other things on one platform. And first stage, what they have asked us is to develop the portal and develop the mobile app to geotag the assets created under Manrega from 2006 to till date. Till date also it is going on, and we could develop the Bhuvan portal, then mobile apps, and training was given. And in the initial phase, if you see how many now 3 crores 84 lakhs 60,000 geotags are available on the Bhuvan. See, it is it's only now in the initial phase, it is only geotagging and visualization on the Bhuvan portal, and then capacity building and interface. The beauty of this particular program that is available in the Bhuvan is interfacing, a strong interface between the MIS of the Department of DORD Rural Development and the NRSA Bhuvan portal. So the services are drawn from the Narega search to Bhuvan, and after the geotags and analysis is done, again they are pulled back by the NIC of the DORD department. So it is a push and pull services from both the things, so that the information is shared and consistency is maintained at both the portals. This is one of the strong elements in this particular project. And after this success of the first phase of the geotagging of the Manrega program, the DORD has asked us, can you develop a multi-stage geotagging of the asset creation in the Gram Panchayats? So that is how, before the asset is created, a geotag is taken, and during the construction of this activity, photographs are taken, and then after completion of the asset, again the photographs are taken. So each particular activity is geotagged 3 times, and all the stages are linked with the financial release to the particular states. So this is also, now you can see here, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 we call, before how many geotags are there. So this is also very well received by the states, and at the field level, people who are geotagging on a regular basis, and because payments are related, so this program is very successfully running. And this has taken us around 2 to 3 says from 2015 to 2018-19, and then we started. So we are having a lot of data, what you call nowadays the big data. Then we started thinking on data analytics. Then we tried to develop some analytical tools, interface for geotagging database. Then after that, we also went ahead to develop and support NRM activities plan. See, these are already implemented, but as a scientific institute, we have advised the ministry to have this planning portal, because any NRM activities can be planned on a scientific inputs, so that the impact can be much more when you go to assess the impact evaluation of this Manrega program. In that process, we have created the planning portal called Yuktadhara. So this is how this is the roadmap that you can see continuously, and the Yuktadhara planning portal has to be in the final stages of development, and DORD has to release it so that the development of the NRM activities can be planned 250,000 panchayats in this country. So the entire thing is, we were also not handling the big data analytics in the office. So what we initially tried is to develop a national level grid analysis at 5 kilometers by 5 kilometers. One example will be showing on hotspot trends in the plantation areas, thematic envelope studies, spatial clustering hotspot analysis, mapping synergy with the sustainable development goals. This is the key in all the nowadays, because the entire world is interested in the sustainable development of any nation and how the programs are impacting those goals. And all of you know that there are 17 goals. Some examples I will see. And we are also trying to use the modern tools and techniques. How do we visualize a temporal 3D visualization of the assets created over the time scale? And what are the factors or drivers influencing the project implementation? Some hotspot analysis they will be showing, and the planning portal, what we have done. The GeoManrega grid-based spatial analytics, this is one particularly, you can see here the entire India, what are the assets and how many geotags are there. And you can get the class-wise and category-wise. And we have put 5 kilometers by 5 kilometers grid, and in each grid, depending on the number of the geotags, they have been classified, or they have been put into different groups. And you can see each grid. Suppose, for example, this light blue is there. So in this particular light blue grids, it will have 1 to 2 assets, the Manrega assets. And since it is in the Bhuvan background platform, you can have the administrative boundaries, you can have the satellite data, and you can visualize where exactly these assets are created, and what is the background information. So when you go for new planning, initially you can have some idea. So this time we are done in this particular land use, we should need to do where to do. Suppose if you look at these grids where it is having very high 51 to 100 assets, so you can shift to the nearby areas in the next, the administrative blocks. So this is how the grid analysis will enable the administrators to see where exactly they are concentrated and where they are not concentrated, and they can rightly invest the financial resources and have a better scientific planning for those new activities. And one example I can show you is the assets are of various categories, about 173 categories are there. One category, major category, is plantation assets. This is the all India map. This particular geotag assets that have been taken out of the database that I have got some 3.92 crore assets, and you can see how they are all distributed in the country. And you can see that particularly in the Andhra Pradesh and Telangana part, when we did the hotspot analysis, we could see that they too came, this particular area has come out very significantly. And when we analyzed and how these things has happened, this is because the Haritaharam, the tree plantation program, has been taken up massively in Telangana state. That is how the hotspot analysis has clearly brought out this particular aspect. And these have also been, then once we got the hotspot analysis and other things, then with the help of high resolution images, we could validate them. And these are all some of the field photographs to showcase that what the analysis, what we have got through hotspot is valid. The second attempt that we made with the big data or the analytics that we have is how these the Manrega assets are distributed across different terrains or different slope conditions. And one example especially I'm going to show you is in Uttarakhand. If you see, this is a Uttarakhand state. These are all the geotags that has been done in this particular state, and these are all the categories, right from Anganwadi, rural infrastructure, drought proofing, flood control protection, land development, to water conservation and water harvesting structure. These are the major categories. And here it has been given the distribution of these major categories in terms of these things. And particularly you can see that this particular activity, rural sanitation is high, and then these flood control protection measures are high in this particular Uttarakhand. And here this particular table is seen is district-wise. What are the number of geotags or assets are created under Manrega, and what are the dominating the assets in this particular districts? Because these assets are created addressing the natural conditions there. So with this background, I will show some examples following. This is particularly, I would like to say that it is assets distributed in the Uttarakhand in the terrain, in the natural terrain condition. That means we are taking here slope as one of the base information, and the slope is derived using 130-meter spatial resolution. And you can see the different slope classes. One from flat to the very steep, over 6 to 7 classes. And again is the slope classes and how these particular the Manrega assets are distributed. And if you look at the hills with steep to moderately steep to steep slopes, most of the control measures have been initiated. As all of you know, the Uttarakhand is one of the hilly districts in the northern states, and you can see how the various activities have been taken up. And why this analysis is done is the slope analysis will help us really where to put what type of structures, and it gives whether they are the structure can be stable and other things. It helps to do all those analysis. And similarly, we have done the Manrega assets versus land use land cover, and you can see most of the assets are created where the land use is either forest or agriculture. And remaining other things because of accessibility and other things, they are all minimum. And depending on the rural setup, they are being taken up. But majority is in the forest and the agriculture. So slope, land use play a very important role in taking up the asset creation NRM activities in the Manrega. Then the next, this is another analysis. The next analysis is we have done some special clustering of assets, hotspot analysis or cold spot analysis of these assets in the entire Uttarakhand region. You can see the different districts of the Uttarakhand and the hotspots and cold spots. And the red color, what orange color is indicating the hotspots of 95%, 95 to 99% confidence, orange color and other things. Whereas the yellow is not significant, and whereas the cold spots is very few patches are there in the entire these things. These are all the areas for the future activities that can be planned. Based on our this spatial clustering and hotspot analysis in Uttarakhand, major hotspot clusters you can see in Pittorgarh, Chamoli, Bageshwar, and these districts can become a low priority for future activities. And medium hotspot clusters like Dehradun, Haridwar, Udham Singh, you can go for, they come under moderate priority for taking up the activities. And cold spots are mostly in Uttarakashi and Theri Garhwal, where they can be taken on priority and go with the assets suitable to the particular terrain conditions. Then I told you that the Manrega is one of the major, the global flagship programs, I can say you, that has been taken up to address the rural areas and in a massive scale. And it is time to understand how these are impacting the sustainable developmental goals. There are 17, as I mentioned you. One of the is the Sustainable Development Goal 2 addresses the zero hunger, and that is why if you can see the Manrega assets created in these things comes under land development and micro irrigation works, because they have direct linkage with these things. And Anganwadi infrastructure, this goes with good health and well-being and quality education. So this is a sustainable development goal. Like that, what we are trying to do in this particular analysis is, what is the linkage between sustainable development goal versus the Manrega assets? And what we could see is, we have seen in two aspects. One is the individual sustainable development goals wise, and a composite sustainable development index has been developed, and see which are the good achievers, which is the moderate achievers, which is the poor, or which can be improved, or aspirational. In the terminology we call as aspirants performers, front runners, achievers. That means they from lowest to highest. This is how it is. The index is classified. But if you come to the individual, the sustainable development goal wise, if you take sustainable development goal 2, it is particularly the Almora is standing out, having a very good percentage of distribution of assets that has been created under Manrega. And in the case of like that, sustainable development 3 and 4, this particular Terry Garwal is standing out like that. In this sustainable development goal 15, that is life on land, flood control and protection, it is this blue, that is Chamoli district is coming. So that is how we could understand the relationship between the Manrega activities and the sustainable developmental goals, because the Narega has to impact the lives of the rural livelihood and sustain them over a long period of time. And in this particular composite index, you can see that you can see the different districts how they are faring, and the Almora, the Chamoli is the one. If you look at the graph, this bar diagram, it is the one which has all the stages of performance of this composite indicators. This one is good, and 2-3 districts are falling, and whereas Almora is coming under the performer of moderate performer. And this is how we can rank the districts in terms of their performance of Manrega assets creation and the sustainable development goals addressed. So this type of analysis we need to do for the entire country and see how we are progressing in this particular rural development flagship program. And another attempt that we made is first time the spatio-temporal mapping of rural works and 3D visualization. The one example is because these rural assets are created over a period of 2006 to even now they are getting created. But we should know how these assets are created across the time. And here also we have performed a hotspots and cold spot analysis. And where are the hotspots emerging, and how the three-dimensional time cube to represent the different years of asset creations and hotspots has been attempted. And this is a cube, time cube, and a 3D visualization. And the base, what you are seeing, yellow, blue, and these light green, they are all nothing but consecutive hotspot areas. Then new hotspots is yellow bins. And then light blue is no pattern detected and sporadic and all other values. And if you take any one particular cube, you can see that particularly wherever these red color things are there, these are all the hotspots of latest years. And the down ones are all the lower time scale. That is the top one is the latest one, like 2015, 16 or some latest year, and bottom one is the grayscale will be the oldest one. See, this is how, and each grid, for example, this particular blue color grid is no pattern is detected, yellow is a new hotspot area is detected, and in the particularly the light green areas, you can see the hotspots across the years. So this type of visualization, which year, where it is changing, and all these things, we can easily assess the results, what has been the impact in the rural areas. Then I am coming to the last point, that what we, after going through all this over a period of 3 to 4 years, we thought, why don't we develop a planning portal for planning the Manrega activities at the behest of DORD. And this is a planning portal called Yuktadara. And here we have got the login module. Then we have the selection stage. Then we have to start the planning. Then these are all the stages of planning in this particular Yuktadara planning portal. And this version is in the process of development. And I'll just take you through these steps so that you can see how the plan is made. And stage 1 is landscape familiarization. You go to any landscape, first you should know what is administrative boundary, what are the thematic data available, and what are the other land information available like digital elevation model, drainage, and the land parameter like slope. And what are the geotags available, assets already geotagged, and what is the satellite data available to plan any natural resource management activity in that particular administrative unit. And this is the, once you go to the thematic layers, you can see how the infrastructure information is available. This is all the portal login, these things. And this is land use, land cover information. This is groundwater prospects, digital elevation model. And this is the already available data, and already available geotags assets in the rural areas is given in this particular pictorial representation. And category wise, how many are there and other things. Based on the available information, now the next stage is to identify the NRM activity in Manrega. So after familiarization with the landscape, we should go for identification of the activity. For example, if you identify the structural activity, within the structure, what is the subcategory irrigation related works? And irrigation related works, what you are going to do in the structural level, farm ponds, and whether these farm ponds are to be taken up on individuals or in the composite these things. So it is individuals, and activity is construction. So this is the second stage of planning the activity. And then based on the information and all other things, and based on the activities sponsored for the sanction for the coming year or next year, you can identify based on the natural resources and all the geotags and the terrain conditions, the activities you can identify and pinpoint them, and make a map for presenting to the Gram Panchayat people and discussing with them and apprising them what is existing, what are the natural resources, and what is proposed, and they can take the concurrence and finalize the map. And here you can draw the polygon, point, line, any other locations. Here we are given only the locations, recharge structures, and percolation tank or other thing farm pond. But this can be, you can draw a polygon, line, and other things with the planning tool. And then you can prepare a map showing the block or Gram Panchayat level network, the activities plan, and this map can be sent for approval from the authorities. And this is the portal for approving that particular action plan. And first at the Gram Panchayat level and then at the block level. And once the plan is approved and it is hosted on the Bhuvan, then they go for the implementation. This particular portal has been developed and it is ready for the usage by the launch by the DORD, and it will be shortly placed in the ministry portal, this one portal, and training will be given. Training has already started and we have given 4 trainings to all the peoples, and that is the state of art. Then in the last slide I am going to come is the use of geoinformatics in Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. As all of you know that the connectivity in the rural areas is very important, and Government of India under Prime Minister Gram Sadak Yojana, a lot of rural road works are constructed or taken up, and the ministry wants, DORD wants us to develop a Bhuvan platform to depict all the rural roads and see whether the road lengths, what has been approved has come properly or not, where are the deviations, and how best we can address the shortfalls in the projects, and how the data can be accessed to the common people. And this entire project is completed. The road nets we have addressed is about 6.2 lakh square kilometers road net work is addressed. Both NRSC and National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayat Raj under Ministry of Rural Development, we are the partners. Entire country road work is completed. The data has been submitted to the concerned state department so that they have to verify and certify, yes, all these things are, whatever deviations are there, all are correct, or whatever the lacuna is there, they will correct. And once it is over, we are going to launch this portal finally. So with this, I am concluding my lecture, and this is the way forward for the watershed and rural developmental planning. And you can see the application of geospatial inputs at micro level planning and implementation is on the rise, and there's a demand. And after that, once you implement, assessment of impact on rural development at ecological and social scales is everyone is asking. And to understand the actual return on the investment made towards the rural development, including spectrum of interventions vis-a-vis accountability. Then linkage of geospatial services and products to advanced domains of IoT, serious games, and all these things to improve the participation of stakeholders. Ultimately, the stakeholders need to get benefited. To take into their views and opinions, all these modern tools need to be make use of. And finally, the SWOT analysis of these developmental programs to identify the pitfalls and other things. So with this, finally, I have just in my lecture, I have covered the watersheds, the Rural Development Program Manrega, Prime Minister Gram Sadak Yojana. Thank you, participants. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the detailed and elaborate presentation, and especially emphasizing on the various development programs. Definitely our participants would have benefited greatly. And now, sir, we'll have a panel discussion. So I invite the panelists of this session, Dr. T. Ravisankar and Dr. Suresh Kumar. We'll have a short panel discussion after maybe 1 or 2 minutes. So the panelists, please.
Yes. Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you for taking our request for delivering this one of the important lecture. One of the important lectures on watershed development program, planning and monitoring, how at a large scale, at the implementation scales, the remote sensing data is being used for monitoring the resources, monitoring the development program, and it is giving opportunity to the rural upliftment, and where remote sensing technology is directly benefiting to the people, rural peoples, and as well as planners to monitor its very efficiently the planning activities. Sir, you have covered the various flagship. Program, which is where the remote sensing technology is being used as a Geo Manrega and Yug Dhara planning and other rural development programs, that where ISRO is providing all services to the government of India, so that we can easily monitor those resource development. Yeah. So,
So we have one question in the chat box.
Just some questions are there from the students, from the participants, and I am not seeing on my screen, Dipanvita.
Yes, sir, I'll just read it out. Are there any platforms or repositories available to download fine resolution watershed data for flood modeling? Because in India, lots of area are inside flood during rainy season. How can Bhuvan portal be used? Sir, this is the question.
Are there any platform repositories?
Question is that platforms or repository available to download fine resolution data for watershed modeling. So Bhuvan portal can be used. So sir, on that you can take this question.
See, the data sets are available. Probably, yes, you can access to a limited extent to the Bhuvan services. And once you register these things, and probably you can, latest data may be difficult to get immediately, but historical data and other things you can download, watersheds can be accessed, and you can take the WMS service and you can do at your services. But really downloading the Bhuvan data as it is to your particular local system may be slightly difficult.
Yes, sure, because high resolution data are restricted one and it is priced one. Although you can get the other data sets, like as I told you earlier, the Sentinel data which is available at 10 meter spatial resolution. Okay, the second questions we can take. The suggest accuracy assessment method for hydrogeomorphology characterization. Actually, this in this topic we have not covered the hydrogeomorphologies, but remote sensing data are very well used for the hydrogeomorphology, geology, mapping, and drainage characterization. So for watershed delineations. So that part I have already covered. That in that you can utilize high resolution remote sensing data, and digital terrain analysis you can process with hydrological tool, and you can prepare the drainage map. So that is the one way we have already discussed in one lecture. Okay, idea for ridge area treatment. Sir, how remote sensing data in like various conservation measures are being taken at the ground level, and in that ridge area or drainage area treatment, stream drainage treatment is taken care. So how we remote sensing data helps in that?
This particularly in the remote sensing we have the natural, you can identify the highest point in the watershed. Ridge is nothing but the highest point, and the lowest point is where the water goes out. In between, the slope can be analyzed, and we can break the slope into the upper reaches, middle reaches, and lower reaches, and then accordingly the activities need to be planned. Because whatever is required at the upper reaches, like soil conservation or afforestation and other things can be planned. At lower reaches, where the slopes are very gentle and other things, there the treatment plans are different. And middle level, you need to stop the water and other things. You need to go for contour trenches or water harvesting structures and other things. Farm ponds, you should go at the lower element of the slopes. Where agriculture is there, slopes are not much.
Yes. Another question is that how we can check soil
management helps in
Sir,
acquisition.
Soil, what is the one I think is, sir, can we accurately check soil erosion by watershed management? Yes, you can, because in one of our experiments, even our Dr. Suresh Kumar has also done the soil erosion. If you look, you want to measure the sediments by putting some sediment measurement instruments in the field, and definitely we have observed in one of our project experiment the soil loss which was 40 tons per hectare per year in a hilly watershed has come down to 5 to 10 tons per hectare per year. This is possible, and definitely the impact can be quantified. And models are there like RKL, CPR, some are modified equations. You can assess the quantification of the soil loss. Soil erosion can be quantified.
Okay, sir. Next questions, that is how we can
World view or spot satellite, and how to get list for images. The general
Which
question,
one?
sir.
How to
find the
acquire
world view or spot satellite data, and how to get list for images.
See, basically NRSA is the one which supplies the data products to the entire country, all users. You can contact our NRSA data center. We have got one data center and you can get the details.
Okay, sir. Then another person is asking the name of Indian satellite for monitoring water sources in India. Name of
Which
Indian
one?
satellite for monitoring water sources.
actually I can say that monitoring water sources, you can say this is a different field. We are not discussing here monitoring water resources, but you know that is the water resource, the Ministry of Water Resources, they used to measure the total discharge by river discharge and other measurement methods. Satellite data in that, they also use that one, satellite data. Some of the microwave satellite data are there. But here in this course, we are not covering that part.
And also to give a general information, Suresh Kumar again right point. To add to Suresh Kumar's point, the water resources can be monitored using high resolution, moderate resolution, and coarse resolution data, depending on you want to monitor at country level, state level, district level, village level, and other things. And satellite data is available, definitely available. And they have been in NRSA, we are addressing the water bodies of greater than 10 hectares on a daily basis, entire country. We are using online services, and they are available in water body information system in Bhuvan. You can look at them and you will get the idea.
Yes, sir.
Future
Thanks
of
for
watershed
adding.
management. A very broad question.
Okay.
Future of watershed management.
No, can we download topo sheet from Bhuvan portal, or it is only available at Survey of India? It is available at Survey of India. Nobody can give the topo sheets. It is only the Survey of India. Then now the question you are asking, what is the, one more you are telling, madam?
Future of watershed management, sir. Future of watershed management.
Yeah, future of watershed management, point number 1, very high resolution data of 1 meter or less than 1 meter is required, because, and also multi-seasonal. The drawback what we could observe in the particular phase what we have implemented is availability of the very high resolution data in Kharif, Rabi and summer, because all the 3 seasons is very essential to see the real impact and quantify the various improvements what is there in the watersheds. And definitely now if you look at the scenario, global scenario, we are multi-temporal high resolution satellite data sets are available, and there are also the freely downloadable satellites from our Landsat and Sentinel. To some extent they can also be used, and definitely the seeing the success of this PMKSY WDC 1.0, they are trying to go for more effective management and assess the impact quantitatively. This is where we are definitely going ahead in the future.
Okay, sir. One questions we can take that how we can identify the exact location of groundwater recharge structure.
This is basically groundwater recharge structures. The basic inputs for this is your geology, geomorphology, lineaments, and these information coupled with the field studies. And NRS has prepared a 1:50,000 scale map for entire country, and they are available on Bhuvan. And along with these structures, groundwater recharging structures are also mapped at 50,000 scale.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think these were the major questions. These were the major questions were there for this course. And at the end, sir, I am sincerely thankful to you, and on behalf of Director IIRS and from distance learning program of IIRS program, I sincerely thanks to you for sparing your valuable time and giving this a very important lecture, which that is taking care of all the how this remote sensing technology government is using at the operational level, at the ground level, and how this is being used for the rural upliftment for the people. So with this, I thank you very much for joining us today and giving even the participants be also enriched with your valuable experience, and so long you are working on this one, and you have realized this remote sensing potential for watershed management program, monitoring program, especially I can say that Drishti and Srishti program, this was the brainchild of your only during this program. So thank you very much, sir.
I thank Deepanvita and Suresh Kumar and all other participants for patient hearing and giving me the chance to share my experience. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. And I also